Children's Hospital in Baltimore. We lived downstairs and rented the upstairs rooms to outpatients. One summer evening, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to see a truly awful-looking man. Why is Harley taller than my 8-year-old? I thought as I stared at the stooped, shriveled body. But the appalling thing was his face, lopsided from swelling, red and raw. Yet his voice was pleasant as he said, "Good evening. I come to see if you have room for just one night. I came for a treatment this morning from the Eastern Shore, and there's no bus to morning." He told me he'd been hunting for a room since noon, but no one seemed to have a room. I guess in my face, I know it looks terrible, but my doctor says it needs a few more treatments. For a moment, I hesitated, but his next words convinced me. "I can sleep in this rocking chair on the porch. My bus leaves early in the morning." I told him we would find him a bed, but the rest on the porch. Later, I asked the old man if he would join us for supper. "No, thank you. I have plenty." He held up a brown paper bag. After supper, I went out on the porch to talk with him a few minutes. It didn't take long to see that this old man had an oversized heart crowded to that tiny body. He told me he fished for a living to support his daughter, her 5 children, and her husband, who was hopelessly crippled from a back injury. He didn't tell this by way of complaint. In fact, every other sentence was prefaced with thankfulness for his blessings. His disease was apparently a form of cancer. He was thankful for the strength to keep going. At bedtime, we put a cot in the children's room for him. When I got up in the morning, the bed linens were neatly folded, and the little man was out on the porch. He refused breakfast. Just before we left, he said, "Could I please come back? Say the next time I have a treatment, I won't put you out of bed. I can sleep fine in a chair." He paused a moment and then added, "The children make me feel at home. Grown-ups are bothered by my face, but children don't seem to mind." I told him he was welcome to come again. On his next trip, as a gift, he brought us a big fish and a quart of the largest oysters I had ever seen. He said he had shucked them that morning before he left so that they'd be nice and fresh. I knew his bus left at 4 a.m., so I wondered what time he had to get up in order to do this for us. In the years, he came to stay overnight with us. He always brought us fish, oysters, or vegetables from his garden. We also received packages in the mail, special delivery, fish and oysters packed in fresh kale, each leaf carefully washed. Knowing that he must walk 3 miles to mail these, and knowing how little money he had made these gifts doubly precious. When I received these dear gifts, I often thought of a comment our next-door neighbor made after he left the first morning. "Did you keep that awful-looking man last night? I turned him away. You could lose boarders by keeping such people." Maybe we did lose boarders, but if only they could have known him, perhaps our illnesses would have been easier to bear. Our family always will be grateful to have known him. From him, we learned what it was to accept the bad without complaint and the good with gratitude to God. Recently, we were visiting a friend who has a greenhouse. As she showed us her flowers, we came to the most beautiful one of all, golden chrysanthemum bursting with bloom. But to our great surprise, it was growing in an old, dented, rusty bucket. I thought to myself, if this were my plant, I'd put it in the loveliest container I had. My friend changed my mind. "I ran short of pots," she said, "and knowing how beautiful this one would be, I thought I wouldn't mind starting on this old pail, just for a little while till I can put it out in the garden." I was then imagining just such a scene in heaven. Here's an especially beautiful one. God might have said to the sweet old fisherman, he won't mind starting in this small body. All this happened long ago, and now, in God's garden, how tall this lovely soul must stand.